because I rather learn.
Yes. Okay, hi everyone. This is Professor E, and today we are going to go over chapter 7, which is the last chapter. The good thing is we have a few more weeks for review. We have a lot of time to review. So I think for this chapter, which is chapter 7 about list, it may take us probably 2 weeks. I mean, I can finish it in one, but I would like probably to take our time, making sense of this. So I may split it into two, and then we're gonna spend the rest time reviewing. I think we still have time to review maybe like any concept you have problem with. We can go over some practice. I have a lot of practice, and if I just uh, posted a few more. So these practice are very very helpful. Okay, so we will have time to go over them. So as I said, like the chapter is about lists. So list, what we have to talk about list, because so far we've been talking about variable, but variables hold only one value. So if, like let's say I'm an instructor, I need to keep track of my students' grades. So if I have, for example, 30 students in my class, so I need 30 variables, one for each, right? So it's gonna be very difficult to keep track of all these variable at the same time. And that's where the list comes into play. So list basically is like a storage that takes or variable that takes multiple values using one single name. And then you can access them using the loop. Okay, so basically that's what the list. And now in other programming languages, they use different names. Some of them they have the same name, some others, like Java and C++, they use array and array list to refer to the list. So it's pretty much the same thing, but they use different terms. So let's go straight. That's the best way to learn something is just basically practice it and then learn from there. So let's just open the program here. So if you remember, like when you declare a variable, you just mention the name, like at least in Python, you don't have to specify the data type. So for example, I can put grade 1, okay? Let's say 85. Then I need grade 2, let's say 90. Then I have a third student, grade 3 is 100. So that's gonna take a long time, and there is a lot of variables to keep up with. So it's gonna be very difficult. That's why using the list will make things super easy and more effective and efficient. So instead of like declaring the variables individually, I can just put a grade C, and then I put the list of my values. So let's say 75, 80, 96, 82, 62, okay, 100. Okay, so that's an example of a list, as you can see right here. So when you print the entire thing together. Great. Okay. Now, if you wanted to access a specific value or element, then you just have to mention the location. For example, you can put grades and then you put here, let's say 1. That means you're going to access only remember, the first one is index 0. Remember, whatever we said about string, we said that the first one is 0. So it's like each element has a seed number. You can call it seed number, you can call it position, you can call it index. So basically, that's how the program knows where every value is located. Okay. So 75 has index 0, 80 has index 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. So if I want to know how many elements I have, I can just use, just like string len. Len is a function that keeps track of how many elements you have. So this is going to count them 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Here it's easy, but what about if you have a long list? You're not going to count them. So this one is very useful in knowing how many elements we have. Okay, so again, how am I going to access the last one? So the last one, which has 100, I have two ways. Either I'm going to say 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I'm going to put grades 5. Okay. So that's going to give me 100. Okay. Or maybe three different ways. Second way is I'm going to say, okay, grades, I know the length. So if I put the length minus 1, so the length is what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And 6 minus 1 is 5, because the length tell me how many numbers. So when you use the length, basically you are counting, right? We start from 1. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. But when it comes to index, we don't start from 1, we start from 0. That's why the last one is always whatever the length is minus 1. Okay? Because this one is 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But how many elements we have? 6. So if you subtract 1, that's going to give me the index of the last one. So I don't have to know exactly what the index is, but if I know what the length, just subtract 1, and that's going to point to the last one. So if I run it, oh, it says, oh, because I have to put the length of grade. See? Because I just put the length by itself. But the program does not know the length of what. So I have to put the length of grade, say 100. Or there's even something much easier. You know what? You can go forward and also you can go backward. For example, the first one is 0, 1, 2, 3. Or you can go from the end, that's -1, and then you go backward, -2, -3. You know what I'm talking about here? So the last one would be just -1. That means the last one, another way to say it. And then -2 will be 62, -3, 82, and so forth. So you can either go forward or backward. And this is something that Java and C++ don't have. They don't go backward. You have only forward. So that's something very, very useful. So if I put run, say it's going to give me the last one. So it's easy. If I want to put for a point to 96, there are two ways. Either you're going to go from the left, 0, 1, 2. If I put 2, that's going to give me 96, right? And then also I can go from the other backward. So backward, that means -1, -2, -3, -4. So -4 and 2 refer to the same thing. It's just how you're going to get there. So -4, -1, -2, negative. So it's going to, both of them will give me -96. Can you see that? So it's just different way of doing that. Okay. Or you can print, you know, multiple values. Let's say you want to select the first 3. Okay, let's say for whatever reason you want to pick the first 3. So you just have to specify the first one, 0, and you put colon. Colon means anything in between. And then you put here 0, 1, 2. Now, if I put 2, pay attention here, it's going to print what? See, it's going to print the second, the one that has index 2 will not be included. It's not inclusive. It's going to include only 0 and 1. It will stop. So if I want to include 96, I have to extend it to 3. So remember, the first number on the left is included, but the one on the right side, it's not included. Okay, just be careful, because sometimes people, they go like off by 1. So just remember that. So what about if I want, okay, so that's 75 and 80. Now what about if I want the last 3, like this 3? So how can I put that as a code? So I'm going to put grades. What do you think? I want 82, 62, which means basically sublist, because when you print, this is called slicing. So you are basically looking for sublist. So if I want to print 82, 62, 100, what do you think I should do? Grades what? And of course, there is colon in between. What should I put here? What is the index of 82? If we start from the left, that will be 0, 1, 2, 3.
So it would be 3?
Yeah, 3 is included, so that's fine. But for 100, now if you don't, since the 100 is the last one, I don't have to specify the last number. That's the good thing about this. That means since there is no, it's the last one. If I want to go all the way to the end, then this one should be fine. I just have to mention the beginning, but I don't have to mention the end. See that? It's going to mention. But if I want only 82 and 62, now I have no choice. I have to put what? 3,
3 and
4,
then
5.
4.
No, but 4 is not going to be included. So that's why I have to go to
Uh,
5, that it will include 3 and 4. I know it takes time to get used
oh,
to this. The number to the left is included, but the one on the right side of the column is not included. That means you have to add one more to
more.
include the number that you want. So now this will include 82 and 62. See that? Now there is a different way. I can also put -1, right? Because I remember -1 is 100.
Correct.
So I'm going to put -1. So whether you put 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or -1 is the same thing for the computer. See that? It's the same thing. It's just like how we are going. Are you going forward or backward? But the index is gonna get you to the same thing. So 75, you can has index 0, but it can also have -1, -2, 3, 4, 5, -6. So 75 has -0, index 0 or -6. Both of them will give you 75. Okay. So that's what we call slicing. Basically, you get sublists. So sometimes you are interested uh, in a particular section, from the list, not the whole list. Okay. So that's how you access them individually or part of them. Now I can do something to them, right? I can, for example, how can I make the reverse? Let's say I want the reverse of this. I want them backward. There's an easy way. You just put print grades, and then you're going to put from the beginning till the end. See, when I put nothing, it means from the beginning till the end. And if I add another one, that's going to give me the steps. That means you want to skip or not. So if I put 2, what is that supposed to mean? That means I'm going to go 75, skip 80, go to 96, skip 82, go 6. So the third number, because here I don't have to put 0. And the last one is what? 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I mean, if you put 0, 6, or you put nothing, it's the same thing because that's going to give you the whole thing. And the third number is called the steps. Okay. So basically, I don't need that 0 and 6 because if you don't put anything, it means from the beginning till the end. And the third one will skip. So if I keep run, look, I'm going to get 75, it's going to skip 82, it's going to go to 96. So basically, we're going by 2. You are not going by 1 because normally you are going by 1. Now, since this is the default, I don't have to specify 1 because that's how normally we use. Now, if you go by 3, what's going to happen? So you're going to go from 75 all the way to what? To 82. And since I don't have enough, that's it. It's going to give you only 75 and 82 and stop. Why? Because I don't have more numbers. Now, if I add more numbers, then it's going to give me the plus one. So let's say here 70. So that's going to give me 70 because you are going by 3. Or you can go backward. See, if I go -1, that means I'm going backward. So that's an easy way to get the backward. See, if I run it, it's going to give me exactly the same thing, but backward. So that's super easy. I mean, there are different ways you can do it, but this is just basically the shortcut, the fastest way to reverse a list is by just, but make sure, be careful that you don't put it in the middle, you put it at the end. It's like a third number. Because if you use only 2 numbers, so that's giving you the beginning and the end. But if you add one more column and then you add a third number, that's the steps. Okay. So if you go -2, so it's going to give you 70, always backward, right? 70, skip 100, go to 62, backward 96 and 75. So backward. See, the good thing about the grades, you can find, like, you can make a lot of calculation easy way. Like, for example, you can add them up, all of them, using sum. Can you see sum? I put grades, and that's going to give you the sum of all of them. Look at it, how easy it is. There is a different way. I will show you like a different way. If for some reason you don't know that this exists, then you have no choice but to use the loop, because the loop, we have to use the loop to basically to traverse the list, to visit every single number and then add them up and stuff. But this is like basically the easiest way. The same thing for maximum. We're looking for the maximum. So I'm sorry, the maximum, we're gonna go max. So that's gonna give me the maximum value in my list. So that's very, very powerful tool. We use it a lot, especially they use it a lot in data science and data analytics. This is one of the common tools they use, because it helps like find like important information so you can make good decisions. The same thing for min. I'm looking for the minimum, so I can do the same thing, min grades. Okay, so this is the fastest way. Now, if you don't know that this exists, what choice do you have? So let me find an alternative. Let's say, okay, find the sum and the average with loops. So in this case, I need a variable. So I'm going to put, let's say, sum, or let me call it total. So this is not confused with the function. 0, okay? And then if I don't use this sum, if I don't know that it even exists, so I have to use the loop. I'm going to put for every number in my list. Look. For every, this means for every number or value in my list, one at a time, keep adding. So I'm going to put total plus equal that number, each number. So this will be repeated. So I started with 0. So I'm going to start with 0, because usually when you calculate the sum, you start with 0, and then you keep adding the number. So this loop, as you can see right here, I'm going to put print the total is, and then put the total. So it's going to give me the total, which is the same thing, 565 that I found earlier. See? But sometimes you don't know that you have this kind of function that makes it easy for you. Now, what about the average? Oh, the average, I just have to divide by how many numbers they have. How do I know how many numbers they have? The average is, how do I know? Okay, without looking, of course, because this one is easy to count. But what about if you have a long list? It's kind of difficult to know. So what we're going to use, the len, the function len, that tells me how many. So I just have to divide the total by the length of my list. That's going to give me the average. So 565, as you can see, divided by 6, that's going to give me 80.71. See? So all of this, look, I use this only with one line right here. Sum. Now, what about the maximum? If I don't have this, what option do I have? So I'm going to have to have a variable inside called the highest. Start with 0. Now, do I have to start with 0? No, because I'm starting with 0 because when you are looking for the highest, you have to start from the lowest number possible. Now, here I'm just assuming that the numbers are positive, because 0 is not necessarily the lowest. So what about if you have negative numbers like temperatures in Canada or something in the winter time? So the lowest value will be negative, and probably even the highest during certain time, it's going to be negative too. So you cannot start from 0. You have to start from the lowest number possible. Okay? So, and then once you define this variable, then you're going to use the loop again. For every number or value in my list, then look, I'm going to use the f function. I'm sorry, f statements. If the number, look, I started with highest, and then I'm going to start comparing every number I have. Like here, I have 75, right? So I'm going to start with, so the highest is 0. I'm going to keep comparing highest and every grade I have. If I find the number higher, then I will replace highest and assign it that value, which means 75, which is grade 0, right? because I'm going to start from 0, from the beginning. So grade 0 or none, or this, I called it val. So the first one, the first value of val is 75. Is it higher than highest? So I'm going to put if val higher than highest. Is it higher? Yes, because val is 75, highest is 0. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to change this highest. It's not going to be 0. It's going to be that number that I just found, which is val. And this will be repeated. So after the first pass, now highest is not 0 anymore. Look, it's going to be 75. And then I'm going to move to the second number. Val is 80. So now 80, I'm going to compare it to 75. Remember, highest is not 0 anymore. It's 75. So you're going to compare. Is 80 higher than 75? Yes. Change highest to 80. And then you keep doing the same thing. 96, is it higher than 80, which is highest for now? Yes. Change highest and put 96. Now the next one, 82. 82 is not higher than 96, so it will not change. Okay? So this will be repeated. Look, if the number, any of the grade I have, if it's higher than highest, change it. So here, let me put you the number, the highest, the values that the highest will take. It will take first, the first number, which is 75, and then it will change to 80. All these values will be assigned to highest. Okay, and then 80, then 96, now not 92, because 82 is not higher than 9 until you get to 100. So all these values will be assigned to highest. And then once I'm done with the entire process, it's time to print. So here I'm going to put print the highest value or grade is highest. So now if I run it, see, it's going to say 100. Now, if I want to basically guide you through the process, how about if I print the value here? So every time I assign a number or a grade to highest, I will print it just to see how many times highest changed. So I'm going to say here, the highest or highest, the highest grade at this time, that means before I finish, during the process, is, and then I'm going to put highest. So all these values that I mentioned here will be printed. Why? Because it's like I'm reading the computer's mind. See that? The highest grade at this time is 75. The highest grade at this time is 80. The highest grade, so every time the value of highest change, it prints. Okay? So that shows you how many times highest change. Every time, because this is a loop. Okay? So this is just to show you what the process that the program went through to find. This is called algorithm. Algorithm is like step-by-step instructions how to solve a problem or perform a task. Okay? The highest grade is, and then you can do the same thing for the lowest. So if you want to do the lowest, I'm just going to copy this and then change to lowest. So I'm going to go here, copy, and that prints. So instead of value higher, I'm going to put less. But I have to have a variable first. So I'm going to put here lowest. But what do you think? What value I should start with? Because for highest, I start with from the lowest number, lowest grade possible, which is 0. There's no negative grade. Now for the lowest, I need to start from the opposite, which is the highest. So what could be the highest grade possible? Normal grade.
100. That's
100.
what's
So I'm going to start from the top because I'm looking for the lowest. So to go to the lowest, you have to start from the highest and then keep looking until you get. So I'm going to do the same thing. Remember, I'm going to change this one to lowest. But the symbol needs to change because I'm looking for less now. And now this is lowest. And then you change this one to lowest. I just added this to show you the steps. I don't really need this. That's to show you like what the program went through before finding the lowest and the highest. See, now I am done. So it's gonna show me both of them. So run it. As you can see right here, see, the lowest grade is 62. If you look, which is the lowest grade? That's 62. So the program starts with 75. Is 75 less than 0?
Is 75 less than 0? No.
Not, yeah, I'm sorry, because less than 100, because remember, I'm sorry. Because remember,
Oh,
the lowest
0
is
meaning
100. Yeah.
75.
Yeah. So
So,
75, is it less than 100? Yes. So
yes,
lowest will be
absolutely.
75. Is 80 less than 75? No. What about 96? No. What about
No.
82? No. What about
No.
62? Yes.
Yes.
So here, only 2 times the lowest will change. But for the highest, it changes many times: 75, 80, 96, and 100. All right. So that's basically the procedure or the algorithm how to find the highest and the lowest here. But look, all of this, if you use this line, it's the same thing. It's going to give you so. But usually, like, this we do it like when you have a big programs, we don't have time to use the loop. So this is like a shortcut. It's much easier and faster. But in normal programs, the teacher or your instructor may ask you to not to use this because they want to make sure that you know how to find the highest, you know the algorithm, okay? So this is after you learn of this. Like we start, so we normally use this shortcut or these functions at the advanced level because we don't have time to do this. So we already know how to do it. So we just use it to save time, basically. So like when I talk like my like a the data analytics and data science course. So we use this a lot because we focus more on advanced things. So we don't want to spend time just adding and finding the maximum and minimum. So we normally use this to save us time. Okay, so this is basically how the list works. As you can see, it it's it allows you to basically to go over the list and then do a lot of things. As you can see, you can calculate the sum, calculate the average, and then the maximum, the minimum, a lot of things. You can even sort them, or you can shuffle them. By the way, before we get to that, can we change the list, or the list stays the same? Now the list can change. You can add more. Like for example, here I can add. Let's say I have a new student and I have a grade for him. So I want to add it to the list. So what you do is grades dot append. So append means add. Normally it will add to the end of the list. So if I give cities, for example, someone he got, let's say 80, 85. So 85 will be at the end right here. Okay, so if I print, as you can see right here, it's going to show 85 is at the end. Can you see it? So you are adding. Now, what about if I don't want to add it at the end? I want to add it at a specific location. Let's say I have a student and I need to make sure he is in the front. Okay, I don't want to put him at the end. Maybe he has a vision problem. I want to put him in the front. So you can use something called inserts, and you specify the location. Inserts. So I'm going to put 0, and then you put comma. 0 means where location. Remember, 0 is where 75. So if you put the number here, everything has to shift to the right to make room for the new element, which is, let's say, a new one. Let's say somebody who got another, let's say 90. So 90 will be in the front. 0 means the front. 1 will be between 75 and 80. 2 between 80 and 96, and so on. So now if I print, look, 90 will be in the front right here. So 0 means the location that this new value will take or will be located. Okay. Or you also, if you can add two lists, like for example, if you have two lists, you can add them up. You can just use plus. So for example, Let me go a little bit here. So if I have two lists, let's say list one has 1, 2, 3, 4. Of course, we have to separate them by comma. So as I said, I'm just going to mention the most important thing here because I don't want to give you a lot of information, so that's too much. So I may split it into two sessions. So this way we can review and then we can build on it. So list 2, let's say, is the continuation 5, 6, 7, 8. So you can just add them up, just like what you do like with string. So you can just put them together. So I can have list 3, which is list 1 plus list 2. So if I print list 3, it will be basically the total of all of them. So that makes it easier. Look, you can just add them up, list 3. Or even sometimes, let's say I want this list 1. Okay, I want that 1, 2, 3, 4 to be repeated. So I can do it an easy way. Let me call it 4, list 4. I can just multiply 3 times list 1. What do you think I'm going to get if I put this? 3 times list 1. What am I going to get? I mean, just guess. Something 3 times, right? So what am I going to get 3 times? Is it going to be 3 times 1, 3 times 2, 3 times 3, 3 times 4, or 1, 2, 3, 4, 3 times? Or how it's going to work? Like we're going to put 1, 1, 1, 1, 2, 2, 2, 2, 3, 3. How it's going to work? So let's find out. So I'm going to print. So basically, it's print whatever list you have 3 times. It's like you repeated the same thing 3 times. So sometimes you don't have time to do it. So this will be much easier, as you can see. So it will be repeated 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. If you put, of course, multiply by 2, it's going to repeat it 2 times. Multiply by 5, 5 times. So this is one of the things. It just makes your programming experience much easier. You don't have to know it because there are different ways you can do it, but it just makes things easy. And by the way, Python is one of the few programming languages that have this kind of easy way, like very user-friendly. So there's a lot of things that you may not find in other programming languages. But I always say this: every language has a pros and cons, has advantages and disadvantages. So you may have something good, easy, but there's always trade-off. A trade-off, there's always something else that you may have problem with. There's nothing like that's kind of perfect for everything. It may be good for a specific area or it has some positive aspects, but in other areas, maybe it's not the best. It's still good, but it may not be the best. So for example, in the area of data analytics and data science, Python is one of the best programming languages right now to be used. But if you go to another area, maybe website design, now Python is not as popular, as others, maybe JavaScript or Java also. So maybe in game development, sometimes like C++ is good in game development. So every language is kind of specialized in an area. You cannot have a language that works for everything. All right, so this is pretty much, as you can see here, the list. It's easy to use, very user-friendly, okay? You can use the slicing to get parts of the list, sublist. You can add more. You can also remove, so you can put grades that remove. Let's say I want to remove the lowest one, which is 62. So if I print it, look, 62 is not there. So there's some function that makes things easier. See, 62 is not there because I removed it. Okay. There are other functions. I just mentioned them more because I don't want to give you too much information, but there are a lot of ways. That's why I put some materials and some resources in Canvas for you to, and I'm going to add more just for practice, just for you to be aware of, because sometimes you don't know that the function exists. And sometimes it may take you, I don't know, half the page just to do something that you have a function already for that's gonna save your time. So it's good to know it, okay? Because it makes, as I said, your programming experience much easier. All right. Any questions so far about how the list works? Of course, all this takes practice. Even if you know everything how it works, but you have to practice it. You have to, like, for example, solve problems. That's why I said, like, go to the book and see like which exercises they have or project, and try to put them into practice. Try to make sure you apply what you learn. That's the best way to master any concept in any area. Any questions?
No, no, none so far, but I do agree. I do the little practice tests from the chapters, and those really do help.
Okay, that's good. And as I said, like I'm going to add another session before we even start the review process. So I will add another um, session just for the list to show you how important it is, because it's one of the most important uh, concepts and tools used in programming in general, and especially in Python. So it's good. It's always um, good luck to spend more time, and maybe we can solve some real life problems, like some problems, and see how we can use the list to put it into practice, basically to use this list to solve problems. So okay, so I'm gonna see you next Wednesday. As I said, we're gonna be talking also about the list, and then from there then we can start the review. We're gonna go over everything, like the variables from the beginning, the conditional statements, string, list, loops, while loop, for loop, everything, list, functions. So we're going to go over everything, and I'm going to put the materials and all the resources in there. So you should have everything you need to make sure. I want to make sure that when you leave this class, that you have everything to basically to make sure you have a solid foundation and background. So that's going to basically help you, continue the journey, if you decide to take more courses in computer science. Well, thank you so much for attending. And like always, so if you have any questions or have any concerns, please don't hesitate to reach out.
Sounds good. And you are right and of your word when you say email, because I have emailed you in the past when I couldn't log into the chats or I had difficulties turning in work, and you were sufficient